The Snowman, based on the story by Raymond Briggs. The snow fell all night long. When James woke up, he couldn't believe his eyes. He leapt out of bed, rushed to the window. Outside, the world had turned a brilliant, glistening white. Quickly, he tugged on his clothes and ran downstairs. "Don't forget your boots," Mum said. James had never seen so much snow. He played for hours, stamping up and down the garden. Then he started to roll a snowball. And it got bigger and bigger and bigger. Soon it was so big that it gave James a brilliant idea. He would make a snowman. Carefully, he built the body, then rolled another ball for the head. James ran inside and found a tangerine for the nose, 2 pieces of coal for eyes, an old green hat, and a matching scarf. Last of all, James gave his snowman a great big smile. He was perfect. "Time for dinner," Dad called. All evening, James sat by the window so that he could gaze at his wonderful snowman. He would have stayed there all night, but it was soon time for bed. As he brushed his teeth, James took one last look at his snowman. He snuggled down in bed. "I hope he's still there in the morning," he thought, and he drifted off to sleep. In the middle of the night, James woke up and he remembered his snowman. He crept downstairs. As he looked out at his snowman, the most magical thing happened. The snowman came to life. James shook the snowman's hand. "Come in," he said. "I'll show you around." "In here," whispered James, opening the living room door. The snowman loved the Christmas tree, but thought the fire was too hot. So James took him to the fridge to cool down. Then they explored the rest of the house and even tiptoed into Mum and Dad's room and tried on Dad's clothes. "Perhaps we'd better go back outside," said James. When they reached the garden, the snowman grabbed James's hands and started to run. Faster and faster until they were flying. From all around, they were joined by flying snowmen. Together they flew over the city, out to sea, and on and on, until at last they landed at the North Pole. The snowman led James through the trees towards a clearing. James couldn't believe his eyes. A large circle of snowmen were gathered, and in the middle there was Father Christmas. "Just in time," smiled Father Christmas. "The party is about to start." And what a party it was. James and the snowman danced all night long. As the first rays of sunlight appeared over the hills, Father Christmas handed James a parcel. "For me?" James gasped. It was a soft blue scarf, beautifully decorated with snowmen. "Oh, thank you," cried James. He gave Father Christmas a big hug, and then it was time to go. James and the snowman soared into the air and flew towards home. When they arrived, it was nearly morning and time for James to go back to bed. James didn't want to leave his friend, but he knew it was time to say goodbye. With one last look at the snowman, James went inside and upstairs to bed. Happy and exhausted, he fell asleep. In the morning, James' first thought was of the snowman. He jumped out of bed and raced down the stairs, past Mum and Dad, and into the garden. But the snowman had gone.